needed one more reason for Jerry Falwell to hate me. Well, the real reason I converted was I figured that as a Jewish man, I'd be more attractive to blonde Gentile women. My father-in-law was a Jamaican Jew. These are people who can sing reggae songs and negotiate deals to distribute them. And you haven't lived until you sought the advice of a Rasta rabbi. You just got to live with the Torah man, no problem. I tell you, my wife makes a jerk chicken soup that you... As an African-American and a Jew, I've taken special interest in the continuing reports of heightened tensions between blacks and Jews, stemming mostly from various remarks attributed to Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, the two groups appear to have many similarities, both suffering historic persecution, victims of quotas, etc. So why would we be fighting? After this break, we'll return with the regional director of the Anti-Defamation League and with a black rabbi, Hebrew. If there really exists tension between blacks and Jews, can you imagine the racism and anti-Semitism I could be accused of inflicting upon myself? Back in a moment. ADL has become especially visible through its efforts to expose what it considers the anti-Semitism perpetrated by the Nation of Islam and the negative consequences of the state of black-Jewish relations. Rabbi Capers Fournier is the spiritual leader of the Beth Shalom Ethiopian and Hebrew congregation in Chicago, and likewise in a unique position to analyze the tensions which are said to be affecting blacks and Jews. He's an African-American, he's a Jew, he's a rabbi. What a combination. Welcome, gents. I'd love to start off just by Richard Hershout, starting with you and getting Rabbi Capers' take. Is there any reason, if we forget the press coverage of Louis Farrakhan, is there any reason to believe that there is, in fact, any renewed tension between blacks and Jews in America?
I think you make a very astute point, because too frequently the confusion and a misperception has been set forward that somehow Farrakhan has hijacked or otherwise defined the state of black-Jewish relations. That is, we believe, right, unfortunate and really a miscasting of the state of black-Jewish relations, which are predicated upon a mutual history, shared hopes, shared aspirations, and we ought to, and we're endeavoring as much as we can to draw a distinction between bigotry and the state of a very fluid and entrenched relationship between the two communities. Bigotry is bigotry. If we can move past that, then we can continue with the positive agenda.
Well, again, so is there, aside from Farrakhan, is there any reason to believe that there's any particular tension at all?
I think it's fair to say that the relationship is a continually evolving one, as any relationship would be, that there have been points of contention on some economic issues, disagreements relating to how we approach issues of affirmative action, differences with regard to
within the
quotas, and neither community certainly is a monolith on the issues, but I think it becomes how you go about remedying and redressing past discrimination, whether it can be done in a quick fix or and whether or not that quick fix creates a whole new class of victims.
Let me try. Rabbi Capers, in your experience, is there, as a Farrakhan aside, is there any reason to believe that there is any particular tension between black and Jewish communities?
If you remove Louis Farrakhan from the equation, right, of black-Jewish relations,
right,
I would say that I would agree with Rick that maybe with respect to quotas and things of this nature, those might be points of contention. But if you remove Louis Farrakhan, I think not. If you notice, it was a letter written that said, well, we think that if Louis Farrakhan participates in this march, commemorating the March on Washington, that would be bad. So that had a ripple effect upon the entire leadership of the African-American community, the civil rights organizations and things of this nature. And it cast them in the eyes of a lot of African-Americans in a light, well, wait a minute now, you know, are you in charge? Who's in charge? But if Farrakhan was not there, that whole process would have been one of the most glorious events ever, recapturing the King ideals, the King dreams, and perhaps really trying to take our country to what Martin Luther King envisioned, because we haven't gotten there yet.
Well, okay, so this is the tension is all about Farrakhan. This is the idea. I mean, the so-called tension is all. It's really just for Farrakhan. There's nothing. There's nothing else out here. There's no other issues. There's nothing. I mean, there's affirmative action debates within the black community, within the Jewish community. Right. There is. So I mean, because let me tell you, because I have asked various Jewish friends of mine who ask, "What about this tension?" And you go, "Okay, well, in your personal life, have you noticed anything? Is there anything that you can point to?" And even in the ADL's material that we had here, there was nothing. There is no, as far as I can tell, this is all based on one guy. Is that the ADL doesn't like Farrakhan, and so there's this whole big debate about the ADL's displeasure with one guy.
I think something else needs to be said, though, and that is that there is a certain void, a certain vacuum that Farrakhan has been more than happy to exploit and embrace. The Farrakhan's ability to engage in demagoguery and to polarize both communities has, I think, importantly serves as a reminder and perhaps a wake-up call to those of us who have labored in the fields of intergroup relations, and in this regard, the black-Jewish relationship, that we ought to take a serious look and critically examine the agenda in terms of the dialogue and make sure that we are not two communities simply talking past each other. There is most certainly an economic dimension that has got to be addressed with regard to the African American community, and I believe for the Jewish community to have a meaningful role and to be real players in helping with some of the inner city issues that plague the black community, we've got to creatively find ways, whether that's through mentoring programs, through dealing with discrimination in lending and housing, those areas, we can make a meaningful difference.
The Jewish Council on Urban Affairs.
Jewish Council on Urban Affairs.
An organization that has been in existence in this city since 1964. This is our 30th year. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary. We came into existence trying to bring that prophetic vision of righteousness and truth and the upliftment of a people, the upliftment of the downcast. How do we do that? Do we come in and try to tell organizations what you should do? No. We try to bring information and resources to community-based organizations so that they can make the most intelligent decision based upon the best possible information. That's how the president makes his decisions, is it not?
That is. And on that note, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with our guest discussing the state of black-Jewish and Jewish and Jewish-black relations in America. Dialogue sessions with black-Jewish dialogue groups. Right. What has come out of this recent interest in promoting the black-Jewish dialogue? And maybe that in and of itself justifies this exercise.
Firstly, many African-American ministers don't want to be defined or be told who they can like and who they cannot like.
Right.
They are not at the table to talk about Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
They're at the table because they're interested in moving a broader agenda forward with respect to intergroup relationships, how the Jewish community is going to interact with the African American community, with the Latino community, with all communities. After all, we are all living here together. And our organization says that you cannot go from point A to point B until you begin the dialogue process. So JCUA has its leadership, Rabbi Marks and Rabbi Herman Shulman, have dialogued with Louis Farrakhan. Have they agreed with him? Absolutely, unequivocally not. But they have dialogued because you cannot move from one point to the next. You can't move Louis Farrakhan without dialogue. And secondly, we must put a face on the Jew so that when people speak of the Jews, if there's no face, then they look at, this whatever monsters whoever's speaking is trying to create. But if there's a face on that Jew, and somebody says, well, wait, that's not the Jew that I know.
Yes, it's Rabbi Capers.